So guys, I have to make this video. This is the worst top 25 list I've ever seen. Like, this is made by somebody who I can guarantee you is not watching games. And I mean that. I can guarantee you that whoever is has made this list is not actually watching WNBA games. I'm fully convinced. As somebody who has watched every team on multiple occasions, who watches way more women's basketball than men's basketball, this list is a joke. And if you agree it's a joke, subscribe. We're trying to 26.3k by the end of the day. But it's the worst top 25 list I've ever seen. So I'm just going to go to the bottom. Kelsey Mitchell as the 25th best player in the WNBA. Now I need to take a drink. Preseason ranking 24. I don't hate it. I don't agree with it. But Dejanay Carrington is better than Kelsey Mitchell. Alana Smith is better than Kelsey Mitchell. Skylar Diggins-Smith, debatable. Natasha Howard is better than Kelsey Mitchell. Diana Taurasi is not better than Kelsey Mitchell. 25 is fine, a little bit lower. 24. How is Kennedy Carter 24? Kennedy Carter anywhere lower than 12 is wrong. It is just objectively wrong. You're saying she's averaging 17.2 points per game. Yeah, because she didn't start for half the year. I need to get a game log here. I need to get a Kennedy Carter game log. Just up to show how ridiculous this is. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Here's the full game log for Kennedy Carter for the season. So, to start the season, Kennedy Carter is coming off the bench playing a couple of minutes a game, averaging like 10 points a game. And against Indiana, since she was put into the starting lineup, which I think was against, probably in this game here against Washington, because I don't think she started here. So let's go. Since being in the starting lineup, 16, 18, 19, 23. And by the way, this Washington game, they were down like 10 and she went on a 10-0 run herself to bring them back into the game. Like, while coming off the bench, they were literally going down. She would come on the floor and go on a run by herself to bring them back in. So since being a starter, let's just say maybe 16, 18, 19, 23, 20, 15, 26, 33, 21, 19, 22, 7, and 34. She's been the best guard in the WNBA since being a starter. Either her, one of the CCs or Breanna. There are four guards, in my opinion, that are head and shoulders above every other guard. It is Jackie Young, Sabrina Ionescu, Caitlin Clark, Kennedy Carter. There's no way, unless you have Jewel Lloyd, Arike, Kelsey Plum, all outside the top 25, which you don't. There's no way Kennedy Carter 24. That's ridiculous. And she is the best player on her team by so much. It's not even funny how much she's the best player on her team. And I can guarantee you she's not the highest Chicago Sky rated player here. She is by so much the best player on her team. Like, literally, it's just Kennedy Carter versus everybody. Versus the world. That Aces game, it was literally Kennedy Carter versus the Aces. She has won multiple games where it's Kennedy Carter versus the other team. This is a joke. Alicia Gray at 23, don't mind it. But again, it just looks bad when Kennedy Carter's behind her. Alicia Gray is good, though. She obviously was really good in the All-Star weekend. She's not shooting the best this year, and she looked better when Ryan Howard was there. Ryan Howard 22 is way too low. That's way too low. Like, you've dropped her 6 spots because she got injured. No, when Ryan Howard was playing, the Dream were a plus 500 team. Even though she wasn't shooting the best in this season. Dream went 1-9 while she was out. Yeah. Like, no, she's better than 22. Bree Jones is better than 21. Bree Jones was a worthy all-star, one of the best centers. It's just she plays on a stacked team. Oh my God. Did I see Kayla McBride at 20? Did I just see, arguably, the 1A, 1B on one of the best teams who kept them winning with Fee Collier out? There's no way I've seen Kayla McBride at 20 on this list. Angel Reese 19, you know what? That's actually fine. I don't mind that. That's fine. That's a fine position. But the problem is that Bree Jones, Kayla McBride, Ryan Howard, and Kennedy Carter are all better than Angel Reese, but I can guarantee you there are at least 4 players ahead of Angel Reese that have not been as good this season as Angel Reese. So I don't mind. Angel Reese at 19. I'm cool with that. Really good as a rookie. Don't hate it. DeWanna Bonner 18. Yeah, I don't hate it. Again, she can shoot the ball a little bit. I think Bree Jones is better than DeWanna Bonner, but I don't hate it. Aaliyah Boston 17. Again, like Dewana Bonner, Bree Jones, Angel Reese, like Aaliyah Boston are all kind of interchangeable. I don't mind the spot for here. Brittany Griner 16. The problem is that when Brittany Griner's played this season, she's played like a top 10 player. She just hasn't played that much. So I don't hate the 16. Best abilities, availability. So I don't hate it at 16, but again, she could be higher. You just put Caitlin Clark at 15. How in God's name did you put Caitlin Clark at 15? Like, what are we doing? What are we actually doing? Like, I get it. Putting Caitlin Clark in your top 5 might be gassing it, but having Caitlin Clark anywhere lower than 10 is bait. It's bait. I'm sorry, it's bait. Like, this, I don't, like, this is a bait. This is bait. This is absolute bait. Like, how, like, what point guard do you have over her? You can't say there are 14 better players and not have a point guard. You have Skylar Diggins-Smith in your honorable mentions, no Tash Cloud in your honorable mentions. If I see Chelsea Gray above her, oh my God. But you can't just not have a point guard in your top 15, which I assume they've done. You can't say there's no top 15 players to play a position. She leads the league in assists, has dealt with enormous pressure. The Fever have been 10-7 since they went through the damn gauntlet. They were intentionally put through the gauntlet and have been one of better teams in W since then. Oh my God. How do you have her true shooting so wrong? You said her true shooting is a career low 49.6. Her true shooting is 39, not 49. How, like, you literally are making this list based on random stats and you can't even get the stats right. There is no excuse for Jewel Lloyd to be 14. Jewel Lloyd is just shot chucks. She has one good game of 5. She is a big reason the Storm aren't winning. She's not a reason for the Storm winning. She's a big reason the Storm aren't winning. She's the 4th best player on her team. No. You're like, oh, she shoots 26% from 3 and 40% from 2. She has a true shooting percentage in the 30s, not 49.6. 49.6 is comparable to a Caitlin Clark. She's shooting 10% less true shooting than Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark's in a slump. Caitlin Clark's in a slump and still shooting 10% better than Jewel Lloyd. How Jewel Lloyd is 14. Get Jewel Lloyd. And how this is, and worst part is that it's a disrespect. It's disrespectful to, what's her name? To Kennedy Carter, who plays the same position, kind of same shoot first guard point type role. This is disrespectful. Disrespectful of Kennedy Carter. I know she's not a bad defender. She has the lowest shot quality. She shoots the most difficult shots. There's no excuse for that when you play with Skylar Diggins-Smith, Jordan Horston, Ezi Magbagor, Nneka Nwumeke. You're shooting it. You're not shooting it because your team doesn't have the talent that it's buying, that it's a necessity like an Enrique. You're doing it by choice. 13. No. Actually, you know what? He's better than Jewel Lloyd. But, like, Enrique is shooting 37% for the worst team in the WNBA. And, like, look, it's not on her. Enrique might be the 13th best player in the WNBA, but Enrique is not in the top 5 guards in the WNBA. She might be 5th, actually. The top 4 guards, again, Jackie Young, Caitlin Clark, Kennedy Carter, Sabrina Ionescu. They are the top 4 guards in the WNBA. Maybe you could argue Enrique at 5th. Enrique is not. If Enrique was 14, Caitlin Clark was 13, I wouldn't be even that annoyed. But there is no scenario where Caitlin Clark is better than Enrique Ogunbowale. Or sorry, Enrique Ogunbowale is better than Caitlin Clark. There's just not. Is this based on the All-Star team or something? Like, is this based on how she played in the All-Star game? Because the more points Enrique scores, Enrique scoring a bunch of points correlates with her team being bad. When her team's good, she scores less. Like, there's no reason for Enrique to be at 13. Ezi Magbagor 12? She wasn't even an All-Star. Is this based on the 3rd and 4th place in the Olympics? She won, literally, Up until the final game, Ezzy Magbagor is coming off a monster effort for bronze, finishing with 31 against Belgium. She was terrible in the Olympics up to that game. Oh my god, you literally just watch one game and are basing players off that. You're probably basing Enrique off the All-Star game. You probably never watched Kennedy Carter play basketball. And you've put Ezzy Magbagor. Ezzy Magbagor is an elite defender. You're just throwing stats in. She's no bystander on offense. No, she's probably second. She's probably the second best defender in the WNBA interior. I don't hate her at 12, but she's not as... Is she as good as Aaliyah Boston? Maybe. But she's definitely not as good as Bree Jones. She's in that Bree Jones, Angel Reese, Aaliyah Boston conversation. Not 10 spots above them. Oh, for God's sake. Are we... This is parody. This is absolute parody. Like... This is parody. She has one good game and 3 bad games. This is parody. By the way, the aces have not been good this year, and you've got 3 aces in the top 11 players on a team that hasn't been good. And by the way, the aces, when the 3 play, there was a stage with Aja, Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, all 3 of those playing, none injured at all, where they were 500. How are 3 of them in the top 11? Kat Copper 10, bit low, but I'm not going to argue it. Derek Hamby 9. They're the second worst team in the W. No. She's been good. Put her at like 15. Derek Hamby, unpopular opinion, hasn't been that much better than Angel Reese this year. There's no way. There's no way. There's just no way. Oh, we're watching Hamby. Especially in, apparently this is like, especially when she was averaging, what was like 24 and 12 through the first 5 or 6 games. A player who's progressively getting worse as the season's going on. Her preseason goals to earn MVP votes. She's not going to earn an MVP vote. She's been good. Not the 9th best player in the W. Neka Wumake 8, no problem with that. Sabrina Ionescu 7. You're joking me, right? How many player of the month does Sabrina Ionescu have to win to at least be considered the 2nd best player on her team? The Liberty have not had Stewie for parts of the year. Stewie's going through a severe shooting slump, and the Liberty are still the best team in the WNBA because Sabrina Ionescu has been the best or 2nd best guard. Worst, you can say 2nd best guard. And she's been playing in between the 1, the 2. This team's been injured. They've been winning games without Stewie and Benajalaini Hamilton, and without Vander Sloop, just off the back of her. Off the back of her, Leni Fibic, Jonquel Jones. Jonquel Jones has been great, but like, come on, what's this based on? Jackie Young 6. She's not been better than Sabrina. I think you can argue she's a better player. Young has also become one of the best perimeter defenders in the WNBA. Are you basing that on the Olympics or something? I think they're basing that on the Olympics. Jonquel Jones a 5th. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. Alyssa Thomas 4th. No. Like, she's been really good. I don't agree with 4th. Fee Collier 3rd. Don't hate it. Don't hate Fee 3rd. How is Stewie? I'm sorry. How is Stewie 2? How is Breanna Stewart number 2? I get it. If you're, I don't know what this list is. Is it who's the best players or who will be the best players in the half of the season? But like, she shot 18% in May. Like, she's going through a shooting slump. And in fairness, Stewie's been good. Stewie's been decent. She's been injured at times. This has been Sabrina's year, and Aja Wilson obviously number 1. So what is this list even? Newcomers in this list, first year players who are neck and neck. Based on what? Your ESPN bet, by the way. You do realize you have ESPN bet that has Caitlin Clark minus 2,000 to win. That's not neck and neck. Saying it's neck and neck is like saying Aja Wilson and Sabrina Ionescu are neck and neck. You had to play over half the team's games. You mentioned Chelsea Gray. She can't walk. Like, Chelsea Gray runs around with a limp. I have an Achilles tear. I have lung damage from Like, I have an Achilles tear, I got a blood clot and have lung damage, so I can't move. I legitimately can't move. And the thing is like, again, because just in my day-to-day life, it's a struggle to move. Like, if I do play sports, I can't really walk the next day. So, yeah, since the injury, I probably put on about 10 pounds. So I'm probably 20 pounds overweight, have an Achilles tear, or that didn't heal well, have lung damage, and I'm still faster than Chelsea Gray. You're joking me. You're joking me. Like, this is a piss take. This is bait. This is bait. ESPN's Kevin Pelson. Like, this is bait. There's no other way to describe it. This is bait. Like, Ionescu at 7. Hamby probably 5 spots too high. Breanna 5 spots too low based on this season. Kat Copper deserves to be higher than 10. Kelsey Plum 10 spots too high. Ezzy Magbagor 10 spots too high. Arike, I've less of a problem with Arike there than Jewel Lloyd, who shouldn't be in the top 25. Then you've got Caitlin Clark probably between 5 and 10 spots too low. Greiner a little bit too low. Aaliyah Boston maybe a little bit too high. Bonner, I think Reese is probably bang on. But like, saying Kayla McBride has been worse than Jewel Lloyd this season is wild. Absolutely wild. Saying Ryan Howard's been injured and saying Kennedy Carter's the 24th. This is the most disrespectful. People saying I'm going at the Caitlin Clark thing. No. Kennedy Carter might be 15 spots too low. You can make an argument that Kennedy Carter is 22 spots too low. I'm not saying she's the second best player in the WNBA, but you can make that argument. Like, if you are not crazy for thinking she's number 2. This is the worst list I have ever seen. This is just bait. This is complete bait.